First things first, T-Wolves at Rockets. James Harden drives, puts it down. Rockets moving on to round two.
Listen, I need someone in the Houston media. I got friends there. Can we ask James about why, after these dunks, he acts like he has a nosebleed? Running up the court, every time he dunks the ball, he puts his fingers to his nose and then looks at him. Every time. It's irritating me. I need to know the answer to this question, Chris Carter. Because he's not getting high enough to be like, oh, I was up so high, I got a nosebleed from elevation. I need to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I think the question is probably a little more interesting than the answer.
Okay.
Moving on to, that's a good answer, actually. Moving on to Wizards, Raptors. Kelly Oubre goes baseline, flushes it home. Oubre puts Jakob Poeltl in a poster.
Man, it looked for a little bit like the Wizards were going to steal this one. A huge push at the end by Toronto.
Totally different than what we've seen Toronto before. In this situation, they would have lost this game.
Yep.
In years past, man, they were clutch at the end. They made some big shots.
Jazz
to pull
Thunder,
away.
Game 5. Russ splits the defenders, finished strong. Russ had 45 points, keeping the Thunder alive in this series.
Amazing performance. LeBron James, Russell Westbrook last night, man, they steal the show. When they needed it, Russell, we can debate who had a better performance. Russell being down, getting closed out, down by 25. LeBron doing what he did after the Pacers make a quick comeback. Russell showed you why, Nick, why you love him and why he's so
Man,
special.
who are my two favorite basketball players alive?
LeBron and Russ.
Me and your son.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
NBA players.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they combined for 89 points.
Speaking of LeBron,
Get well.
Pacers, Cavs, tied game, 3 seconds left. LeBron James with a game-winning buzzer beater. Nick, I don't know, do you have any chance you saw this last night?
I think there's a video, unfortunately, on my wife's Snapchat of she surreptitiously recorded me because I kept replaying this to try to get every moment, like the Miles Turner look on his face, the inbounds play, why they didn't foul. And so there's about a 30-second video of me watching this on repeat somewhere on the interwebs. So yeah,
I want to see the video of game number 4 because she told me you were getting out the shower late in the game and you was a little nervous. Game 4, game 5, Danielle, hit us up with that.
There's no video of that. No, thank God.
Then I'll get the address.
No.
NFL draft is tonight live on Fox. Let's be honest, the Browns have been on the clock for like 8 years now. We've heard a ton of names in contention for that top pick, but now reports are out that Cleveland is down to Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen for the first selection of the night. Cece, what would you do if you were running the Browns? You had your pick of anyone out there. Who would you like? Who would you choose? Who would you want?
Jenna, I'm just like a lot of reporters not putting their names to stories. General managers or former general managers or offensive coordinators. I'm going with Baker Mayfield. If I'm selecting a quarterback, I'm going with Baker Mayfield.
Really?
During the regular season, I thought Baker Mayfield was the best quarterback. I thought, forget about height, forget about what offense they play in. Which guy do I trust the best as far as throwing the ball? And that's Baker Mayfield. I believe the West Coast offense, which I believe 2/3 of the NFL teams, they run some version of the West Coast offense. He is athletic enough where he can, I want a quarterback who can avoid, problems when the offensive line breaks down. He's accurate enough. He's played at a high level there at Oklahoma. He's been consistent. I mean, his passing efficiency is tremendous. Touchdowns to interception ratio. If he was 6'4", it wouldn't even be close. I believe he is the best of the quarterbacks. I believe he also has a higher ceiling as anyone else. Now, I like Sam Darnold. But I just believe that Baker Mayfield has been a higher achiever and would be more worthy of that #1 selection if I was taking a quarterback with the #1 selection.
Well, so I'll give my opinion in a second, but you said something yesterday that you said it was quick, we never revisited it, but it was very interesting, which was that if the Browns really do like Baker, or even if they really like Josh Allen, if they're off Sam Darnold, if that's not the guy they want, that you think there's a possibility that they might not take a quarterback at 1, that they might go Barkley at 1 because one of those two quarterbacks would be there at 4?
Looking at the temperature of what's going on behind them, Dave Gettleman, the general manager of the Giants, I believe he's going to take Chubb, the defensive lineman. He's into big people. He's built Carolina with big people. There's a lot of people. Bill Parcells, he's of that theory, build with big people, offense and defensive linemen. So I think he's going to go there. But even if they were to select a quarterback, you have the Jets coming behind them. Who are they going to take? Sam Darnold? Because Baker Mayfield could still be there. And then that's why I believe that the Browns are telling them we like Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield, because one of those guys will definitely be there at 4. So they can get the best offensive player, the best player, the highest ranked player in the draft, which I believe is Barkley. And on most NFL boards, he's the highest ranked player. And then they can get their quarterback with the number 4 selection.
See, what's interesting there is that if you believe that Sam Darnold is the flavor for most teams that aren't Cleveland. And if Cleveland...
You have to believe that.
You have to believe that, but I think most people believe that. And if Cleveland truly has Allen and Mayfield, even though they're very different quarterbacks, ranked equally, then what you're describing makes perfect sense.
Perfect.
Because you know, if you take Barkley at 1, and you know one of the next 2 picks is Darnold, then just by the math, by the 4th pick, either Allen or Mayfield, one of them will be there. So you could, I think most people think they will likely go the opposite direction, that they will secure their quarterback at 1 and take Barkley at 4. But the Giants, I understand they might take Chubb, but they also might say, you know what, Eli, we still owe you one for benching you. Let's just give you all the weapons in the world we can. And the Giants could take Barkley at 2. And then the Browns would not be getting the top 2 players on their board.
For weeks and weeks, probably months, we heard that Cleveland was interested in Sam Darnold. And then it suddenly, in the last week and a half, it changed to maybe Josh Allen, and now it's Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield. Just talk to me about... It's assumed that everything's set. I mean, they've had the number 1 pick. It's assumed they would know who they wanted. Just talk to me a little bit about where they are in their headspace. I mean, what does Baker Mayfield have that a guy like Sam Darnold doesn't? Because yesterday we talked about height and how important that was.
A lot of those things become important than intangibles. It's not necessarily their physical gifts. It's what you get in the individual meeting. They say, NFL executives say in 15 minutes they feel like they can get a good feel for what type of person a player is. Then you get to the personal workouts. How many different things can these guys do? Then you get to football IQ. Do they love the game of football? You know, or are they just playing because of the benefits of football? And if you look at Baker Mayfield, look at his story, because Sam Darnold's been highest ranked quarterback for a long, long time. I believe Mel Kiper, for the last 5 months, 4.5 months, he's had Josh Allen. The only reason why he's had Josh Allen number 1 is because the people in Cleveland have been telling them that they like Josh Allen. But through this whole process, I believe that Baker Mayfield has been able to overcome some of the things that people think about him off the field. I think when you're able to break down the tape and see how efficient he's been in college, because people don't want to fall in love with the combine too much. You have to fall in love with the tape. What happened in college? And when you look at that, Sam Darnold, you might have thought he was hired before the season, but when you actually look at it, Baker Mayfield has been the best quarterback in college football the last 3 years.
And listen, I understand John Dorsey is making this pick. Hugh Jackson, the head coach, is not making this pick. But Hugh Jackson told this week a Baker Mayfield story that sounds identical to your Cam Newton out of high school story. And it rung to me because I was like, this football guy. What resonates with football people? CC has a story about Cam being amongst all the other best recruits in the country at a camp at Florida, and he was the Pied Piper. Everyone followed him.
Yes.
Hugh Jackson this week told a story. He's like, man, I was with Baker. He's with his teammates. It seems like an absurd story, by the way. He all of a sudden walks into the room and says, hee-hee, and everyone on the team starts going, hee-hee. And he said, I've never seen it. He's like, I can't put a word to it. Just the leader of men. And the same way that the Cam thing resonated with you, that Baker leadership clearly resonated with Hugh Jackson. I know that sounds like an absurd reason to take a quarterback number 1, but those are things that stick out to some of these football guys.
Also being a walk-on, being a survivor, taking a chance, taking over a program. Like, he has everything that you would want in a franchise quarterback.
All right, good stuff. We'll talk much more about this over the course of the show. Coming up, though, did the refs hand the basketball game to LeBron and the Cavs last night? Did you give him the game?
Yeah.
Give it to him. Next on First
A little help. Everybody need a little help.
Bigger